Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Franklin Planning Board, October
Recording
20th,
in progress.
2025. This meeting is audio and video recorded, as well as on Zoom. And the Zoom call-in number is 312-626-6799, with the meeting number 816-448-00002. Take our first items of business will be general business. If I could go to Amy for an 81P for an A&R for 687 Pleasant Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for, it's actually also 60 Earls Way. It's two properties located at both of those locations. They submitted it to the planning board on October 6, 2025. They are looking to combine parcel A and lot 2A, creating a buildable lot on parcel A. There is already a building on parcel A, however, they need to combine the lots for the back half of the property to be conforming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, so make a motion to approve 81P for 687 Pleasant Street. Do I have a second? We're going to do roll call. Beth is not here tonight, and Mark is away, but he's on Zoom.
He doesn't vote, so we
No,
don't
I
need to
know,
do
but
roll.
I'm just letting people.
So we don't need to do roll call though.
Yeah, that's true too, because I was thinking Beth was online.
Exactly.
So,
That's on
so I make a motion, yeah. And do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That should be called, man.
I agree.
Vacation.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay. Next item of business would be general business. This will be for another 81 P and A&R for 1 Paddock Lane. If I could go to Amy, Department of Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This plan came in on October 10th, 2025. The purpose of the plan is to create a buildable lot, which is shown as Lot 2 on the plan. They conform to current zoning bylaws.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments in reference to this? No? Make a motion to approve the 81P for 1 Paddock Lane. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item of business would be, this would be for a final endorsement for 60 Earls Way. If I could go to Amy, Department of Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this plan was approved about a month ago by the planning board. They've included the site plans with the certificate of vote along with the retaining wall details for signature tonight.
Anybody have any comments, questions? No? So make a motion to endorse 60 Earls Way. Do I hear a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item of business, this would be a continuation of 543 Union Street, Aiden Estates, definitive subdivision. If I could go to Amy, please, for Department of Planning, for brief review.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of last comments. I think Beta was pretty much all set with the stormwater. I know that there was a question about showing where the blueberry bushes will basically divide from the abutting property. That I don't have. The planning board also asked for further information on the impact of the agricultural use. I know that they submitted an environmental assessment that should be included in your packets. If the board does not close the meeting tonight, we would need to request an extension from the applicant.
Okay. Before I go to the board and everybody, if I could just have you guys introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Richard Cornetta, attorney for the applicant. I'm joined to my left by Roger Calabrese, he's the applicant, and Mike Hassett of Gary and Howland, our consulting engineer.
Good, thank you. I'm going to get very close with this. I'll go to Mike. Mike, if I could go to DPW. Just clean up some loose ends from one together.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are just some revised plans that were submitted based on the redesign from the last meeting. So they were submitted last week. We haven't had a chance to go through the latest submission yet, but we talked the last time about the alignment of the intersections. We recommended keeping it the way they originally had designed. And they were talking about water and sewer extensions going through the town council for that. I believe now they're proposing just the sewer extension at this point. But as far as revised plans, we haven't fully gone through all those yet, so we'll have some comments soon on those.
Just so everybody knows too, this went from 6 lots down to 5 lots as well. Before I go to the audience, I'll go to, did Steve, you there from Beta?
I'm here, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know if you got a chance to review the last drainage calcs and whatnot. If you could just give us a brief update, please.
We have started the review of the drainage calculations. I know that there were still a couple of items that we needed to look into. So as of right now, the drainage review isn't entirely completed yet.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, so I should have mentioned through my comments, these plans came in late, I think they came in late Tuesday, so just, both with Mike here and with Beta, they just didn't have enough time to get through the changes.
Okay. It's still basically in the review process. Before I go to the audience, does the board have any comments or questions? I'm good.
I guess just a general statement. I feel the environmental impact statement dated October 14th generally addressed questions specific to the site, but I personally was looking to understand impact to the budding blueberry farm in particular, and I'm not seeing anything specifically mentioning that impact unless I'm missing something.
Mike, could you elaborate on your?
Sure. So we went through and prepared a environmental impact assessment statement based on the requirements of the subdivision bylaws. And we looked to basically show that, the number one, that the use is consistent with the rest of the surrounding area. It's not like we're taking woodland that's, all around this farm and making a neighborhood. This farm is surrounded by single-family homes, which is the proposed use. But that said, we did have our environmental consultant go through and address the first two major points in there. And if I can pull that up, I don't know if you wanted me to go through that, but it talks about, application of fertilizers, control of sediment, long-term maintenance of the stormwater basin, construction period, sedimentation, pollution prevention, which is all to say that the environmental impact, is not expected to impact the farm. We're basically looking at saying, this is how we're managing all of our potential sources of impact, and we believe that they're sufficient to prevent any impact to the abutting farm.
Maybe if, as the review process goes on, just confirm all that through Beta
Yeah.
for us as well. That way when you guys come back, we'll have
I'm expecting Beta's peer
Finalized.
review to include a review of that statement.
Okay.
Okay. Because they didn't get a chance to review it, that's why. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that's on the table for it, that's all.
Yeah, because that was one of the things they asked for, is they asked for that analysis, and so part of our response is that we provided it, and I'm sure that now that they have it, they'll review it.
Okay, good, thank you.
I guess, sorry, I guess because I'm not an agriculture expert, and maybe Beta will get their reviews, I'm trying to understand if there will be impact to the actual agricultural production of the blueberry farm as a result of this development. And that's what I'm not seeing, is the anticipated impact or lack of impact on the actual agricultural practice itself. Not that it's not gonna change, I understand that the existing farm is surrounded by, similar lots. But I think there's a difference in demolishing, based on an agricultural system, all of these blueberry bushes as they may impact the adjacent property and agricultural production. That's the piece that I'm not seeing in this, and I guess I look forward to Beta's review of that, because it feels like it's continued to be not addressed specifically, and that's what we're looking to understand. Thanks.
Okay. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to bring my question from last time up about the additional screening to the south. I know we talked about the concern of people going over and grabbing blueberries when they shouldn't based off of their schedule. Was there been any thought into putting adding a fence to the south there to prevent easy access across?
Yeah, we've considered a fence, but I think the issue that we have is that, those lots themselves, we'd like to allow them the ability to landscape as they see fit. And I would think that, just generally speaking, I mean, they're not going to trespass on another party's property to go get the blueberries. They have the same, again, not to repeat what has already been stated, but this blueberry farm is already surrounded by residential properties. And so the concerns that the board seems to raise exists today with all these other parties, and no one's trespassing, and we haven't heard that this is a major issue for the farm. So our point would be that we're trying not to create something that might just be a stark difference from what is existing there now in terms of fencing and screening.
Would you be open to like a row of arborvitae's just to delineate the property lines in the back? Or something to that effect, just on the lots 1, 2, and 3, really the direct abutting.
Even just 2 and 3, because
Or
one is
just
going to
2 and
maintain the woodland.
Correct.
We'll,
As a
I
board,
suppose
just
we'll,
as a natural
I suppose
border.
we'll discuss it and maybe look at the landscaping in that area.
Sure. Okay. Good. Thank you.
I just want to build on that point, to your point. Correct, there are not built fences on the adjacent single-family properties, but from what I have seen, there's wooded area that is separating adjacent residential properties from the blueberry farm. So I do think at least natural vegetation would be in line with what the adjacent properties are generally doing in response to this site.
So just look at it.
We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, okay. Good. Jay?
I got nothing, most of my stuff.
Chris? You all set? Okay.
Before we move on, I do have, she mentioned wanted to see the vicinity of the blueberries on the abutting farm. We didn't include it on the revised plan set, but I do have it as a presentation plan format here. So I've just requested to share my screen, and if I can, I'll
Sure.
bring that up.
If possible,
Okay, I got it.
You got it.
Can you see the screen, or is it not?
So it doesn't seem to come up.
Still loading mine.
There it is. Okay. So what I've done is I basically superimposed the aerial behind the site plan line work. And so zooming in on this property line here, you can see the limits of the existing, so this black line's your property line. This white tree line symbol is the limits of the blueberry bushes that were existing on the project property. And then directly across the property line is what appears to be like a 7 to 8 foot wide cart path. And then begins their other blueberry bushes. And so that is consistent pretty much all the way down to the rear lot corner. And then on the other side, it continues up to the remaining vegetation in this area.
So the cart path makes a break between the two properties as well?
Yeah, I believe right now there's a snow fence that runs along the property line, and so I think the cart path is just on the farm side of that.
Okay. But that's just another point of vision for everybody.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard delineation of the boundary.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you. You guys all good? Mark, you there?
I am, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yep. You have any comments, questions?
I just had one comment. Is there any lighting on the access, the road that enters the project, the development?
Yeah, there's a light right at the front entrance.
Should there be any others, like in the cul-de-sac, or is just, is
Yeah,
that
see
sufficient?
if I can find the lighting plan here.
Other than that, that's
Should
all
be-
I have.
Should be one at the end of the cul-de-sac or thereabouts.
Yeah, I think it was in the plans that were submitted the previous meeting. Uh, Sorry, I had to just access the file. So this is the previous submittal. So this was the lighting analysis that we did at the previous meeting. And so there's a light pole right here, right in the cul-de-sac.
Okay, all right.
And then an additional one here, about halfway up the road. And then
Great,
one
thank
more
you.
up here in this corner.
So sufficient lighting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
No further questions, thank you.
Thanks. Before I go to the audience, just, if you have something new, you can bring it up. This is also gonna get continued. But if you do have some comment, drainage analysis is still being worked on, so I would say reserve your thoughts on the drainage as of now until Beta does their full review. And then we can take it from there. But if anybody has any comments or questions, just approach the mic. Name and address, please.
My name is Ron Giannetti, 557 Union Street, the owner of the Blueberry Farm. The comment has been made about the fence. That is a major problem for me. Can you imagine in the summer when the homeowners have a cookout in their backyard on a Saturday or a Friday, and they see probably 100 people 13 feet from their property? I don't think they'd be very happy with that. And I addressed last time the problem with the children. You've got to keep the children away from the farm. There's no question about it, if you're concerned about the safety of the children. The other comment that I want to make is they're suggesting with the runoff that I should be responsible for planting some shrubs to hold us back. Why should I? It's their responsibility. They're the ones that are developing the land, not me. It shouldn't be at my expense. That's basically all I have to say at this time. And we submitted a letter, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it today
I did.
with our comments. Thank you.
Mike, do you want to comment?
Sure, I think what he might be
Additional-
speaking to is in the environmental analysis, I believe our environmental consultant mentioned that blueberries in general are typically poor soil retainers, or like, they have shallow roots, and they don't hold the soil back pretty quickly. And so I think they might have been making the comparison to what we have there now, which had a higher potential for sedimentation runoff. In ways that you might have mitigated that in the past would have been additional plantings. But now, all the blueberries are coming out on our side, and we're we're following all the, erosion control, measures for both during construction and post-construction. That's all being reviewed by Beta as part of their stormwater review. And so that also takes care of a lot of their pollutant runoff concerns. As far as runoff from our property too, not really much anything goes to the Blueberry Farm. In the existing condition, it would all run to the west to an existing depression where it would all infiltrate, or else run out to the east towards Union Street. But the grading along the property line between the two farms is more or less level, so it runs kind of parallel to the lot line and not across. And so that's being maintained in areas where there's fill. There's gonna be a swale running along our side to keep it away from those areas. But that's also something that Beta will chime in on, and if there's anything that they would like to address, we're happy to work with them on that.
So he's not looking for you to do additional plantings on your property, it was just a reference of what a blueberry tree does, that's all. So you don't have to worry about any plantings. Anybody else, any questions or comments?
Hi, I'm Pam Genetti, and I'm from Rentham, Mass., but I'm speaking on behalf of my dad. The diagram you brought up on the Blueberry Farm, there is could you pull it up again, do you mind?
Sure. It might take a
Because
second.
the white delineation, there is one row of blueberries right on the property line. The property stakes are at the base of the plant. So there is a plant, and then there is enough room for a car to drive by. And when we run the farm, the cars go in a one-way loop, and there's a lot of dust that goes on there. So a fence barrier would prevent dust from going into the proposed property. And so that white line right on the property line, you can hopefully, if you could zoom in a little bit. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Those white loops, those are actually blueberry plants up the whole row. So if we need to remove those to put up a fence or something, that's going to be expense to my father. That's 1/25 of the blueberry plants that we own that go into perpetuity, what he would lose in revenue if those need to be removed. So I just wanted to clarify that there are blueberries exactly on the property line. Another question I had with the environmental impact statement is the main concern is the well we have on our property to irrigate the blueberries. And this property, the infiltration, the aquifer draws from the property that's going to be developed. And how will all the surface water, is there a study on the regeneration of that aquifer? That's what we're most concerned about, is the well and the buffer zone to protect our property and also to protect, like my dad mentioned, children if they happen to eat a blueberry when it was sprayed that day because they don't know. The neighborhood now is very mature. There are no kids in the area. There is a 30-foot buffer around from where the blueberries are around the whole field. So it would be quite obvious that you're going to get to a blueberry bush because you're going 30 foot through trees, then through grassland to get to a plant. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, you want to
I
comment?
can speak to the recharge
Yeah.
aspect. So as part of the stormwater design and then review by Beta, one of the stormwater standards that we're held to is to replace any lost recharge based on additional impervious coverage, changes in cover types. And so that the stormwater basin that we have proposed is meeting the required recharge volume and actually far exceeding it. I think it's, you're required to recharge, I think it's 0.6 inches of rain times the entire pervious surface. We're well in excess of that, both for water quality volume purposes, the town's MS4 compliance, that's documented in there. And then in addition to prevent off-site flooding, any water that used to essentially recharge on the site has to stay on the site. That's part of Franklin's local bylaws, is that there can be no increase in volume leaving the site in the post-development condition. And so what that means is that there won't be any lost recharge because that's part of the compliance of the local bylaw.
Good, thank you. And that's what Mike does in Beta, double check. Comment, question? Go ahead. No, it's all right.
Yes, good evening. Eric Stelter, 7 Mercer Lane. I still have a lot of concerns about the development of the site and the protection of the impact that it could have on the agriculture. Jen, I think you're right to question some of that study. The study was done by an environmental consultant. I think having a more robust study by an agricultural consultant would be the right approach, because a lot of the impacts that they're talking about is about really about the fertilizers and the types of fertilizers, using best management practices that are being discussed here. But there's a real safety issue to the homeowners of Lot 2 and 3, I believe it is, as well, when the farmers are actually going out there and spraying. There's nothing in the studies that's talking about addressing the cart path and making sure that they're maintaining the operations. If anybody's gone to park there, there's a very limited parking on this site. They have to have that access to the cart path in order to keep the flow of the traffic going. Oftentimes, people are crossing a street and parking across the street to access this site. And so having some sort of more comprehensive assessment by an agricultural consultant that specializes in these impacts would be the right approach to take. The second question I have is, and I haven't been able to attend all the meetings on this, but there was some questions that the board addressed about the intersection with Delta Drive and whether it was directly across or not, or whether it met that. So I'd welcome any sort of clarifying questions or whether that was addressed as well, because as it looks right now, based off the site plan, it doesn't make a direct connection into Delta Drive there across the street. Thank you.
Mike, you want to answer the one about Delta, and then I'll
Sure,
go to Mike.
Mr. Chairman, previously the applicant had submitted a preliminary plan showing an adjustment of the alignment of the intersection, so it was directly across from Delta Drive. But based on the layout of the property lines and the right-of-way, there was a kink at the end, and it would result in an alignment of the proposed roadway not exactly 90 degrees to Union Street. So we looked at it a little closer, and the way they're offset now, they're offset to the right, so that if you had a car coming down Delta and a car coming down the proposed driveway, they'd be offset to the right, so they wouldn't be directly facing each other. So that's the safer option to have, as opposed to if they were offset to the left, they'd be head straight on with headlights directly in front, aiming at each other. So the way the original alignment was proposed, we reviewed it, and our recommendation was to leave it the way it was, based on safety.
I was just gonna bring one thing up. Could you get us all the fertilizers and all the chemicals you put in to the blueberries and get it to Mike? So when the environmental engineer reviews it, he sees what you're putting in the ground, and send it through Amy, and she'll forward it along to Karen Helen to get it documented as well. So that way there, he sees what you're using, and he can make his analysis from that as well.
Yes, we can provide that. I do want to let you know that the blueberries, it's drip irrigation, so it's just dripped 6 inches from each plant on a drip hose. So there is no overall, impact to the fertilizer. It's 10-10-10, nitrogen that needs to be
But as long as you can
addressed.
get it to
Yes.
him, then they can make an evaluation. And if anything
And
needs to be
who
done,
is it going to, please?
have it sent to Amy at Department
Great.
of Planning, and then she'll move it along to Karen.
Wonderful.
Okay?
And is, excuse me, are you like environmental?
No, I'm a civil engineer. We specialize in the site design and stormwater and permitting. We do have an environmental consultant who's not with us tonight.
And do they deal with agricultural or do they
I don't
mostly?
know the full extent of their professional capacity, so I don't want to overspeak for them.
Okay, because I want to make sure that they kind of know the agricultural aspect, because another concern, we have without barrier or is really Lot 3. The drainage looks like it goes, the driveway's up high and then the back slopes down towards the blueberries. And blueberries are very sensitive to getting any nitrogen after the month of July, and it can really harm and kill the blueberries if there's any nitrogen fertilizer. And a lot of homeowners fertilize their lawn like crazy in the fall, and that could be really harmful and hurt the plants. So the whole drainage, I was a little concerned on Lot 3. And it's a pretty big buffer against those blueberry plants that adjoin it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, so I can speak quickly to that. This is lot 3 on the screen here. Between the driveway and the abutting property, we do have a swale to direct water away from the blueberry farm and into the stormwater collection system that then goes to the primary basin, well away from the blueberry farm.
So you've already taken that into consideration?
Right, and then also in the environmental analysis that Beta will review, they do also address, the residential fertilizer use on the project property and how it will be limited, and any restrictions that they would have on that.
Okay, good. Jay, you have one more question?
Yeah, I actually had a comment. Please don't plant Cleveland pears.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't plant Cleveland pears. You've got Cleveland pears in your planting legend. Please don't plant those. It's basically a Bradford pear, and they're crap.
We'd be happy to look at other
Yeah, just plant
tree
something.
plantings from,
Something
like
native.
the Franklin planting
Yeah,
guide.
just plant something native, not that.
Mhm. I'm sure the Conservation Office has a list of natives that we could use.
Perfect.
Good.
Thanks, Mike.
You have one more comment yourself?
Hi, I'm Marion Szymanski, 529 Pleasant Street. I'm the chair of the Franklin Agricultural Commission, and I'm speaking on behalf of the entire commission. I'd like to speak about some of the comments that have been made in some of the reports by G&H Engineering and Capital Environmental about potential environmental impacts that Aiden Estates could potentially have on U-pick blueberries. To this day, there's not been an unbiased environmental report created that has not been created by one of the businesses hired by the developer, and I think it's really important that someone neutral do this study. The construction of Aiden Estates could negatively affect U-pick blueberries in many ways. I just want to mention 3 potential effects right now. Number 1, the construction of Aiden Estates will limit the farm's pesticide application options, as regulations are different when farms are close to other residential properties. Number 2, Aiden Estates may expose the farmland and farm plants to the damaging effects of both toxic materials and pesticide and fertilizer applications, especially the soil and plants closest to the development. Capital Environmental's response to this concern is to say that as long as the future homeowners follow the proper pesticide and fertilizer application techniques and never store toxic substances like motor oil or gasoline on their properties, then the farm will be safe. But Capital Environmental has no way of monitoring or controlling what the future residents of Aiden Estates do, and neither do the developers. Number 3, blueberry plants depend on many diverse members of their ecosystem to maintain their health and productivity. The removal of trees, shrubs, wildflowers, and grasses, and the damage to soil microorganisms that will occur from the construction of the Aiden Estates can have unseen detrimental effects on the blueberries. Capital Environmental is under the impression that the future residents of Aiden Estates will all transform their yards into wildlife habitats to support all the creatures that formerly lived on the land that's going to be developed. But again, they have no way to make sure that future homeowners will do this. I also want to mention that at our last Agricultural Commission meeting, we have a number of farmers on our commission, and we discussed the issue of the fence. And every farmer on our commission who borders to land that is someone's personal property or any sort of residential property told many, many stories of people coming across the property and harvesting food that they were not supposed to be taking. And the only thing that finally resolved this was putting up large, tall, solid fences. Again, fertilizers are sprayed, and within a certain number of days, you're not supposed to touch them. They had people picking those things and taking them home to eat them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've addressed the environmental study as best we can tonight, and, no matter what we say here tonight, what people are looking for is that independent review that Beta's going to provide.
So
I
just
do- I
make
do-
sure you can get them all the information, and we can
Yep.
transfer it, and Beta can review, your consultant can review it.
Mhm.
Come to a conclusion.
I do, though, want to make sure that Beta, they're reviewing that environmental analysis, but I do want to make sure that there's agricultural expertise involved. And if Beta doesn't have that capacity, then I think we should ask that a third-party reviewer.
Amy, could you check?
Mm-hmm. I can follow up
Okay.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
I also I'm not sure how, in terms of who owns what, when you have literal plantings on a property line, in terms of like root systems and, trunks and whatnot that are associated with an actual property line, how that is addressed. So I guess that's just a question, because I literally don't know, is how can we possibly maintain the blueberry bushes that are
How many are we
along a
talking?
property line?
You know?
I have no idea.
I think she
But
mentioned
I
it.
mean, I believe it's a private landowner issue. It's not a planning board issue. When you're talking about ownership rights between two private landowners.
Right. That's why I looked at you.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is. I'm just curious, like, how that's determined.
Okay, well, this is gonna get continued anyways. If everybody's all set, Amy?
Yep, just one thing, if we can, ask the applicant
Yes, for an
for an extension.
Yes, of course.
A written extension
Would
tonight.
you like me to send one?
Yes, if you can provide one tonight, it'd be great.
Okay.
Rather an email.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
I'll send it to you.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, continuation till next,
The next meeting would be November 3rd, or after that would be November 17th.
November 3rd.
November 3rd. Okay. Make a motion to continue Aiden Estates till November 2nd?
Third,
Excuse me, 3rd.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd be really surprised if the Cleveland pear is in that planting list, and if it is, something needs to be chastised.
Okay. All set? Yeah, next item of business, this would be 860 to 862 West Central Street, the Glen Farm LLC, special permit site plan application. Amy, I understand they're looking for a continuation.
Yes, to November 3rd.
Yep, okay, so I make a motion to continue 860, 862 till November 3rd. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item of business, this would be for Forge Park, Lot 2, site plan application. This is a continuation of the meeting. If I could go to Amy, please, at Department of Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to note, they do have the 3 waivers that they've listed on the front page of the plans. I know that there was an outstanding issue from the last meeting about that 0-foot setback. I spoke with the building commissioner, who's also our zoning enforcement officer, and he agreed that the 0 setback is allowed. So it's no longer an issue. They provided some traffic information that the board had requested. No, I don't have any further comments. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Before we get going with everybody, if you could just introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Yes, Brad Chaffee, Kemper Property Group, applicant.
Rick Goodrow with United Consultants.
You want to give us a brief update where we were and where we're at?
Sure,
Go to
Mr.
the rest of
Chairman.
the board,
Sure.
some changes in traffic.
So at the last hearing, we had received the beta peer review comments, some board comments. There were some questions that had come up regarding traffic, stormwater, some other items. I believe all of the non-traffic items we addressed. Beta has provided a second peer review. One additional waiver was requested, and that had to do with the parking within 10 feet of the right-of-way. We were considering that a driveway, but just to be safe, we did request the additional waiver. And then the applicant has had a traffic review completed, was submitted last week. We were under the impression that Beta may be able to comment verbally this evening on that. So that's, and I guess lastly, Jen had indicated that a discussion regarding the MBTA track would be warranted. Brad had done that, had started dialogue with them, but as is typically the case with Mass Highway, they want site plan approval before they'll really entertain talking to us. No, we appreciate it. It was,
Thank you.
It was giving us, we gave Brad the opportunity to talk with them, have some dialogue, and we're further ahead than we would have been, so thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. I just want to make note that the deputy chief wrote a letter dated September 4th of 2025. He reviewed the site and he has no issues with it as well. Before I go to Beta and before I go to the board, Mike, I'll go to you, DPW, any concerns or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, last time we had commented, the only real thing was with the retaining walls adjacent to the railroad tracks, just making sure that they're designed to handle the loads of a railroad as opposed to a roadway. And then there was talk about the median island on Forge Parkway, and they show that on the plan now, would have cut through there, and we could handle that through a typical DPW permit, highway excavation permit. I don't see any issues with issuing those permits when the time comes.
Okay, good, thank you. Steve, you there?
I am here, yes.
Hi, Steve. Could you give?
So, we had provided a comment letter earlier this week. In that letter, it references that we had not had a chance to review the traffic memo. Our traffic engineer has since reviewed that memo and stated that he doesn't see anything wrong with it. He had no comments, which is good. And the only other item, all of the other items stormwater-wise were addressed by the applicant and their engineer. There was just a thing of the stamped retaining wall, like retaining wall drawings that they just hadn't been done yet. When I reached out to the engineer, he had said that they were still working on them, but aside from that, the items that were a concern of ours have all been addressed.
Okay, good, thank you. I go to the board. Comments, questions? Chris?
No, Mr. Chairman, everything I asked last time has been addressed and considered, and I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, good. Jake?
I only have one point. It's really a choice for you guys. It's your site. That's a big retaining wall, and I have the heebie-jeebies about putting retention systems next to retaining walls. So I don't know if you can like kick your connector pipe a little back. It's your site. If you don't have the heebie-jeebies about it, that's your thing. But I don't like to put them next to retaining walls. So
I could, if I may,
Yeah,
I could
sure.
speak a little bit to the retaining walls. That kind of goes with what Steve was saying as well. So in sections that are over 10 feet, this is going to be controlled construction. So usually over 4 feet, you have to pull a building permit. Over 10 in Massachusetts, controlled construction. So, you know, typical as any commercial building would have to go through. So not only these retaining walls have to be designed by a structural engineer, they also have to come and do inspections and reports along the way as if you were doing a commercial building, because they're over 10. So this has a little more scrutiny just for the size of it and with the MBTA. So it's taking a little longer to get that, but this has to go through a couple more channels for us to build than typical. So I guess a little reassurance to all this, it's gonna have a second pair of eyes on
So I'm
it.
not worried about your building stuff. That I'm perfectly fine with. I'm comfortable with that aspect of it. It's more like in the room, I've never seen anything out there that shows like, you know, when we talk about infiltration and mounding, like the actual horizontal cone of what happens when you infiltrate something, right? Because water's not gonna do this, it's gonna kind of do that or follow whichever way. And, you know, and I've seen it on other sites and I've probably made similar comments where we have these big retaining walls and the bottom of an infiltration basin is, you know, 5-10 feet above the bottom of the retaining wall and located relatively adjacent to it. It's like, you know, what's the potential impact from infiltration? And I candidly never found enough information to satisfy my own concerns, which I could probably, or hopefully find out there somewhere, but it's just something I like to point out afterwards. Like I said, it's your site, so if Steve didn't have any concerns, and Rick doesn't have any concerns, and Mike doesn't have any concerns, kind of want to force it, move forward, but that's it. If anyone has any literature on this, I would really enjoy reading it. Placate said concerns.
Yeah, we had a similar situation on
Right up
another
the street.
project. I'm sorry?
Right up the street, and Jay brought it up.
But we actually did the one on Washington Street, 275 Washington Street, and they had, I can certainly take a look at the structural design of those walls that were done by, I'm not sure if it was Dupree or,
Yeah, it's not, the structure
Common.
stuff is all like laid out, like the wall
Yeah,
guys
it's-
tell you what to do, they say that you're putting an X block here and then you go to Y block, it's more like, all right, if we're putting this much water down here and a 25 years under, not so bad on stormwater infiltration right now, but if we're putting this much water through here and we've got this much soil, what's happening to the water? Is it going down, is it going laterally, how quickly does it go to laterally, what does that mean in terms of pressure in the drainage system behind the wall? And those are the things that I've
correct.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is, I can take a look at their report that they evaluated when they looked at that, because that
They did look at that?
infiltrate, oh, absolutely, that infiltrate, we were actually proposing a one-to-one slope at one time, and there was concerns about this in breakout.
Yeah.
And then they ended up going with a retaining wall, so they had geotech people looking at that.
Oh, yeah, Rick, if you could share it, I'd
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
absolutely, I'll take a look through my files to see what I have, and I can talk to the owners to see if they have anything more than I had.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Commonwealth, I'm sorry, it was Commonwealth out of Providence that did it.
No, super appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Good?
Yep.
Jen?
I just wish you the best of luck with the inventory.
Gotten to know him a little better.
Otherwise,
Brad's already bought a yearly pass.
Oh, yeah. They
It's
said
gonna
only
take
four,
more than that.
they said only 4 to 6 months. I said,
You see
oh,
the
this
insurance
is
coverage
fantastic.
requirement?
I haven't got that far.
Um,
I got all the information I need, and they're like, all right, if this goes through, then you can take step 2.
There you go.
Okay?
Keep me
Mark, Mark, you out there?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Everything I've had to speak about has been addressed. The only thing I saw is snow storage during construction, but nothing after construction for locations.
So the snow storage during construction was requested and brought up. The snow storage during construction was demarcated on the planting plan, and those areas were labeled for areas to be covered by stone and to be utilized as snow storage as well, and they were highlighted.
I was
So-
looking at Creek 6, but I didn't see anything else.
I'm sorry?
I was where I'm referencing was on page 6 on the site plans, but I didn't see anything else, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, on sheet 5 of 9, we have the no landscaping, snow storage areas.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Before I go to anyone else, anybody else in the audience? Questions, comments, anybody in Zoom land? I don't see anybody raising their hand. Snow storage was one of my questions, thank you, you got that, retaining wall. How close are you for retaining wall drawings?
They're being engineered as we speak. So possibly this week.
Okay, because I'd like to make sure we have the,
Yeah.
for documentation, for Beta as well. So. Make a motion.
I mean, we could, if everything else is all set, we could potentially close the public hearing and then wait to vote until we get that information. Be my recommendation, yeah.
Yeah. That's the last really thing we have is just the
You guys good with
stamped
that?
retaining wall.
Yeah.
Okay. So make a motion to close Forge Parkway Lot 2 site plan application.
Second.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
What we'll do is, once you get all that information,
Yes.
then we'll document, make sure you get it to Beta, and we'll review, and get it all set, we'll close it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Appreciate it.
Now, last tonight. This would be a continuation of 380 King Street site plan application. If I could go to Amy, please, Department of Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So they've got the two waivers that they've requested. They provided the revised site plans, which Beta has reviewed. The planning board had recommended the dumpster being enclosed with a chain link fence. I know that there's talk about the sewer hookup, which they have committed to hook up to the town sewer on King Street.
Okay, good,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just a point of order
Sure.
before we get going. Just with Beth's absence, my records are that this is her only absence. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yes.
Okay, terrific.
And before we go to them, if you gentlemen just introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Great. Ted Cannon, local counsel.
Joe Malo, PE with Narragansett Engineering.
And Pat Dunford, excuse me, traffic engineer with VHB.
Pat Marguerite, ownership is here.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll go to Mike, Mike with DPW. Mike, do you have any additional questions or comments? I think you pretty much cleaned up, right?
Correct, Mr. Chairman, yeah, we were pretty much also, we addressed the issue with the other section of sewer. We went back and forth, provided some guidance on that, but they had chosen to tie into the street, right in King Street, and we don't have any issue with that at all.
Okay, good, thank you. Steve, you there?
I am here, Mr. Chairman.
Steve, you want to just give us a quick review? I think they've taken care of all your comments and questions from Beta, is that correct?
Yes, all of the items have been addressed. The applicant had submitted the traffic responses last time. We hadn't had a chance to look at them, but we have since had our traffic engineer review the responses, and he found them all satisfactory. So all items have been closed, and yeah, we're good on our end.
Okay, good, thank you. Go to the board. Chris? Comments, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, my comments and concerns last time were the sewer going out to King Street instead of the neighboring parcel, and that's been addressed, so thank you for that. And the last was just making sure we identify, or at least note on the plan, that we have access easements throughout to cover that in perpetuity. So those are my big concerns that have been addressed, and I appreciate it.
Okay, good, thank you. Jay?
Thank you, sir. So I only have one really left. It's kind of a holdover from last time. I guess it's more a comment for Mike. I prefer not to see the road look like, good tie on that, like a striped tie with asphalt patches. We can make like one big utility patch. It's kind of my preference. And I guess the only other thing is, do we get a planting list? Because now I'm terrified that there's Bradford pears going everywhere.
What keeps
Yeah.
Jay Mello up at night?
Bradford pears are horrifying. You, the tree person, should be afraid of Bradford
I
pears.
love all trees.
Bradford pears are not to be loved, they're anti-tree.
I mean, we can do the same thing. We can check with Concom about native species.
Well, I just looked at their list and it was horrible, so.
We should have the planting plan, I'm just trying to pull it up.
It says to plant swamp maples, which are horrible. But, yeah, no, that was it. No, just the big utility patch is the big one, like.
Okay. Maybe you can work that out with Mike when pull the permit.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, when they pull that right-of-way excavation permit, we'll look at that. It looks like they're gonna have one excavation into the roadway. It's not gonna be multiple ones it appears, so if that's the case, it should be pretty straightforward. King Street was paved not too long ago. It's not a moratorium, but depending on the time limit, how old it is, at most, we're looking at probably, we'll probably require full fill and for running the trench itself, but it's pretty straightforward. It's
Yeah,
typical in situations
pretty
like
typical,
this.
yeah.
Okay, good. Jen?
I have no further comments. I just appreciate, I think generally, you all have worked hard to address all the comments from the board and neighbors, and I think that's appreciated.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, good. Before I go to myself, is anyone in the audience, okay, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to steal Mr. Hickok's thunder. Brian Hickox is here, the chair of the trustees of the condominium. I've been in touch with their attorney, and they would like to memorialize by our covenant which we're agreeable with, the tie-in to King Street, but also a restriction on the number of rental units, which we're agreeable with. I said the draft to the attorney, the draft wasn't acceptable, but I talked with Brian tonight, and we're gonna run that in perpetuity. That'll be a 25% max. Lease, leases, the rest have to be owner occupied, and that will run in perpetuity. So there was, I can iron that out, and I explained, we have time with the appeal period, and we also have an ongoing litigation on the zoning board side, so that we have time to work that out. But all of that's agreeable with us. I just wanted to get that on the record.
And you have the 3 affordables in there as well, as part of the
Exactly.
package, so, okay, good. Just, question or comment?
Yeah, comment. Eric Stelter, 7 Mercer Lane. I just wanted to comment that this is the type of infill development that we need to be looking for and have opportunities within town of Franklin. Really fits within the atmosphere and the layout of the land there. It's scalable to the community as well, so it's great. I love how this project starts to get have that frontage looking and tying into the neighboring areas. The one comment that I did have last time, though, was about an outside bike storage locker area. We do have 59, I think 59, maybe 60 new parking spaces here. This type of development is ripe for bike transportation into our downtown areas, which can alleviate, and by utilizing bikes, it can alleviate congestion on our streets. There's been a lot that's been done to look at the traffic flow, but I welcome any sort of additional thoughts towards the opportunities to have an outside locked bike storage area as opposed to requiring people to bring bikes up into their apartments or making it more difficult there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I believe Jay brought that up the last time.
think we
Moved
have
it
that.
from the
Yeah,
front
they've
to
got-
the rear.
Yeah, they've got
So
Well,
you
there was
addressed,
parking and they moved it, so
and
it's
you
like a
moved it to
better
the rear of
area.
the site rather than up
Yeah.
front. So I, he-
It's a bike
it's been
rack.
addressed.
Yeah, so Marcelo.
It's
will
not
look at that.
enclosed, secure.
It's got a roof on
Oh, it has,
So it's
it
got a
doesn't
little
look like
shed.
it
No,
has a
well,
roof.
we can.
it. It will have a roof on it.
Okay.
Okay, so,
A canopy.
so you addressed Jay's concerns the last time too, yes?
Yes.
So-
Sorry, Eric, do you want to?
Yeah, that's why I was making sure that it was a locked bike storage area, not just bike racks. People won't park their bikes over covered bike racks. There's too much of a concern of someone coming in and chopping a cord in order and stealing people's bikes. And the preference for people to actually use it would be some sort of locked bike storage area.
Looks like a bike shed.
Yeah, well, that's up to the developer if you
Well, I
want
think we
to
could-
take that road.
I would be in favor of that.
Okay. So if you can, that can be a separate, just a permit with the building department, so I'll come to a conclusion.
Sure.
Everybody all set then?
Yeah.
So, make a motion to close 380 King Street site plan application. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll vote
Vote
next.
on the 3rd.
Great.
Okay?
That's his.
Oh, yeah, okay, great, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Anybody have any general business to speak of? I just had one quick comment. I got an email reference to the Washington Street Flex Space doggy daycare center down there. They're down at the overnight now. You know, building commissioner had any luck looking into that?
I've not heard from the building commissioner. He is aware of the email. He does know about it. I know that he said he was gonna look into that, so I have not had a response back
Okay.
on that.
All right, just want to make sure we don't let that one slip through. Okay, anybody else have any comments, questions? Nope. No? Make a motion to adjourn, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.